The tides of global power are shifting, and the balance of influence is moving south. While the global north has long dominated global affairs, a new coalition of nations from Africa, Asia, and Latin America is now emerging, demanding a seat at the table and changing the rules of the game. For decades, global politics have largely been shaped by the West, but something extraordinary is happening. Countries like India, Brazil, South Africa, and even Indonesia are stepping up, reshaping institutions and challenging the traditional powers. But why? And why now? And what does this mean for the future? So let's dive straight in. The story begins after World War II, when newly independent nations emerged from the shadow of colonialism. But their influence was limited, largely overshadowed by Cold War superpowers. But today, their collective voice is now louder than ever, and their demands for equity in the global system cannot be ignored. One of the most powerful symbols of this rise is that of BRICS. Initially just an economic bloc, it has been transformed into a geopolitical force, and in 2023 they announced the biggest expansion yet, inviting nations such as Saudi Arabia and the entire UAE, and their goal to counterbalance Western institutions like the IMF and World Bank. But BRICS is just the tip of the iceberg. Regional alliances like the ASEAN, the African Union, and Mercosur are also gaining huge momentum, creating economic and political frameworks that prioritize their own agendas. One of the most fascinating aspects of this shift is a push for a new financial order. I mean, the US dollar has long since been the global reserve currency, but nations like China and India are promoting alternatives. The rise of digital currencies and bilateral trade agreements in non-dollar denominations are creating huge ripples in the global financial system. I mean, just imagine a world where the dollar wasn't king. It's not just an economic issue, it's also a political issue, because who controls global trade controls global influence. The global south is also at the forefront of climate politics. Despite contributing the least global emissions historically, these nations do bear the brunt of climate change, whether you believe it's orchestrated or just from fossil fuels, but they're demanding accountability. At the same time, they hold critical resources for this green transition, which include lithium, cobalt, and other rare earth metals. And the irony? The global north needs these materials to achieve their climate goals, putting the global south in a position of unprecedented leverage. So how is the West responding? To put it bluntly, with a mix of engagement and resistance. Programs like the G7's Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment aim to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative. But many in the global south see these moves as too little, too late. The challenge for Western nations is clear. Adapt to this new reality or risk being sidelined in the new global order, not new world order, for some of you who'd get that confused. This isn't just about geopolitics. It's about the future of globalization, trade, and even technology. The choices made in the next decade will shape the world for generations to come. As the global south rises, it's redefining what power looks like in the 21st century. And whether you live in New York or Nairobi, these changes will impact you. The world is at a crossroads, and the global south is leading the charge. The question is, will the rest of the world keep up? Please subscribe if you enjoyed that.